One of the guests actually showed up in basically a wedding dress.
Oh
So she was
no.
wearing a full, long, sparkly white dress. And my bride actually came up to me and she was like, "You're going to have to kick her out." You know?
Welcome to the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show, where we chat with local wedding vendors. I'm Josh from Evermoore Films, the host of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show, also the home of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory, where we have over 1,000 local wedding vendors listed in the Central California area. Let's get into today's show. Today we're talking with Courtney from I Do Events, and she's part of our Wedding Vendor Directory as one of the coordinators, and so we wanted to have her on the show to tell us a little bit about her business and what she does. Hi, Courtney. Welcome on the show.
Hi, Josh. How's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. So good.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being on the show. I know we recently were able to do a wedding together for the first time, so that was a fun experience for everybody.
So
Uh,
fun.
yeah. Yeah, I'd love to have you just introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, awesome. So I am a local Bakersfield girl, born and raised here. Um,
Okay.
I would say that I'm kind of the new kid in town as far as wedding coordinating because officially I've been in business for just a little over a year. However, my husband and I have been in the wedding industry for over 11 years.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so we've been definitely through all of the ups and downs. He's a DJ in the industry, and he's actually the reason why I got started into wedding coordinating in the first place
Oh,
because
okay.
I would kind of come with him and help him on some of his jobs. And I found myself jumping in and doing things that I guess would be more of a coordinator role. And I started seeing this need of brides and couples that needed certain things handled on their wedding day that they actually didn't even know they needed handled. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
especially if you were doing weddings that where there wasn't a planner.
correct. Yeah,
Because there's so much that happens, and a lot of times, especially in the reception portion, it falls on the DJ.
correct. Yes.
And if you're doing the ceremony too, it's like now the DJ turns into the planner, and it's just like, hey, I've got things to do.
That's right. If the wedding doesn't have a planner, typically the DJ or the photographer ends up being the coordinator. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, so that's just a need that I saw with a lot of people. But I was also noticing that, first of all, a lot of people don't actually know what a coordinator is for, and then they don't know if they really need it.
right,
A business in particular, we're a little bit of a hybrid in between what would be a full service planner, which is somebody that you just give a budget to and tell them your vision, give them your colors and your inspiration, and they take off,
right.
do the whole thing for you. That can be very pricey. And so a lot of times, a lot of people don't have the money for that. That, or they really are very hands-on and DIY and they want a really big role in their wedding planning. So,
So do you guys do the full service planning?
so for right now, we don't do full service planning. We really are
Okay,
just that hybrid model in between I don't even say that we're a day of coordinator because we do work really closely with our couples between
okay,
3 and 4 months prior to the wedding, just to really get to know them and know every detail that they want on their wedding day, know their vision for how they want things to go, and
gotcha.
really get to know them as a couple so that when we show up to their wedding and to their rehearsal, we're already friends with them. We already know what they want. We really have secured that relationship way before and not just a
Okay.
couple of days before. So,
Nice to meet you. I'll be telling you what to do all
yes,
day. Uh,
exactly.
yeah,
So,
very
yeah,
cool.
so that was just a need that we saw where, girls didn't necessarily want the full service planning, but they also wanted a little bit more than just a day of. So we've just kind of come in on that level, and that's where we're operating right now. So we do a lot of, we'll work with them prior to the wedding to make a very detailed master timeline, which is the lifeline of
Okay.
the day. So,
Yeah. Timelines are so important. So
so
I'm glad to
important.
hear that and I know from working with you, I'm pretending
Right.
like I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that you do
Yes,
that.
yes, it's really important. And, it does make the bride feel a lot more comfortable too, just knowing that I know exactly what she wants during the day,
Right.
from prior, the rehearsal, what time they're showing up, what time they're doing rehearsal, dinner, the next day, what time she's getting her hair done, what time the guys are all supposed to meet up together, when is the limousine coming to pick you up? What time are you supposed to walk down the aisle? What time,
Right.
like all of these little details need to come together in order for the day to flow perfectly.
Right. And it's all the like, if this is going to happen at this time, then these five things have to happen before at
Correct.
these times. And if those don't happen at this time, then this doesn't happen at this time. And it's just the way that the things just cascade one after another. It's like the
Yes.
dominoes are falling. It's like, hey, if we don't make this happen, then this domino doesn't fall over here. So
Yeah.
it's
And
good.
there's so many important people that are working the wedding day, and to just have everybody be able to see that one document and get on the same page and really just,
Yes.
collaborate together. It's just so nice to have everybody just working together to make sure that everything that they want happens. So,
Right. Okay. So you've been doing the coordinating for about a year officially, you said.
officially, yeah.
Um,
But long.
so right.
Yeah,
Officially, but longer. Yeah. I
right.
think that's kind of how everyone gets into weddings. It's like, well,
Exactly.
officially, but really
Right.
for like
Right.
a
So
while before that.
I have four kids, and I am a homeschooling mama. So
Okay.
a lot of the reason why I hadn't started my full-time business with coordinating was just because I was so focused on the kids. But now my kids are much older. My oldest is 21 and my youngest
Okay.
is 10. So it's a lot more practical for me now to spend my time doing these things. And so, yeah, it was the right time. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is fun.
yes.
So, so you know, with all the years that you've been around weddings, obviously with Nate being a DJ for 11 years, and you could totally shout your husband's business out too.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. NAL Entertainment.
right.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, because you've been around,
Oh, yeah.
with him doing the DJ thing. So, but specifically on the coordinating side,
hmm
do you have any good horror stories from your first year?
Oh gosh, there's always things that happen at a wedding, and you just never
Right.
know what that's going to be. So, I would definitely say, I don't know if it's so much of a horror story, but there was a wedding that I coordinated just about 4 or 5 months ago, where one of the guests actually showed up in basically a wedding dress.
Oh
So she was
no.
wearing a full, long, sparkly white dress. And my bride actually came up to me and she was like, "You're going to have to kick her out." You know? So
Wow.
that was, for, especially being a little bit more new and having my own business, I was like, oh my gosh, can I really kick guests out of a wedding? you know, but it was, a little awkward, but that's
Right.
also one of those things. I actually had bridesmaids, and I had a client who was going to be my bride 3 or 4 weeks later who was at that wedding. And later that night, they all came up to me and they were like, "You had the guts to like ask that lady to go change her, dress or leave." And they were like, "You really like took the arrows like for the bride on that one,
Right.
So, that's just one of those other things that I take all the flack, so you can just be stress free on your wedding day. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know.
That
So,
that is funny. I mean, yeah, that's one I haven't seen, and I've done this for a long time. I haven't seen that. Like I've seen guests come like wearing white, but
yeah,
not like
it was.
wedding like full on like wedding dress style white.
Yeah,
So
it was crazy, but and we, like I said, we've been around weddings for a really long time too, and that was definitely a first for me as
right.
well. So, yes.
Oh man, that is crazy. Well, tell me a little bit about how you tailor your services to brides, because everybody wants something different. So really, ultimately, what is unique about I Do events?
Yeah.
Why should they choose you instead of any of the other planners that are available?
Right. So, like I was saying before, really, we're just trying to find that little niche market where you can still DIY all of your decor. You can still be
Right.
extremely hands-on with your wedding and really just let me know what your vision is, and then we just try to implement that. So
Okay.
some of our services are, like I said, I mentioned the master timeline. we go to your rehearsal and help you line out your bridal party. That way everybody knows on the day of their wedding where they're supposed to stand, where they're supposed
Right.
to go after the wedding is over. We also do your setup for your table decor. So instead of having family members or bridesmaids or friends at your venue, you know, putting your linens on and setting your centerpieces out and setting all your table decor up or your bar signage and all those things, myself and my assistant will be there doing those things. And then that way the bride can really just hang out with her bridesmaids and her mom. And, you know, we also offer a little bridal suite package where I can bring you charcuterie and champagne mimosas
Oh,
and,
nice.
or apple cider if they prefer. And, you know, we just add these little packages on. So you just have this more relaxed, fun experience of enjoying
Taking
this
the stress
beautiful,
off.
yes, this beautiful day that you've spent so much money and time on. You actually
Right.
get to be present and actually experience all of the fun that you've been leading up to that whole time. And we're over in the, you know, behind the scenes doing all you know, the setup. So it's something that we just really enjoy. And like I said, we work really closely with the brides before the wedding so that we know exactly how they want their venue set up. And then when they show up, nothing's a surprise. They knew that it was going to be exactly the way it was. So,
That is awesome.
yes.
Well, cool. So at this point, we're going to take a little break to hear from our sponsors.
Okay.
And when we come back, Courtney is going to tell us some tips for couples who are planning their wedding. If you're planning a wedding in Central California, you have to check out the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory. We've built one of the most comprehensive directories for local wedding vendors in the Central California area. You can sort by county and by category, so you can find anything from hair and makeup to cake bakers to videographers, photographers. We have it all. Go check it out. It's free to use for brides, and if you're a vendor looking to get your name in front of couples who are engaged, go get yourself listed on the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory. It's free to join. We look forward to seeing you there at evermorefilms.com. Click on the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory tab on the top and check it out. Amplify your business with Story King Studios. We're not just another video production company. We are your strategic storytelling partners. We understand the challenges of connecting with clients, employees, and customers.
Go beyond creative visuals, crafting stories based on strategy. Our videos tell stories and drive results that move your audience to action.
From small local businesses to global players, we're experienced in producing tailored solutions. We collaborate with you to develop a video marketing strategy that resonates deeply with your audience and propels your brand forward.
Our comprehensive video production services span a wide range.
From brand storytelling to TV commercials, social media content, explainer videos, and more.
We excel in crafting customized content to fuel your business success.
Elevate your brand with effective videos that inform, inspire, and influence. Action! Story King Studios, your partner in strategic storytelling. Well, Courtney, I'm sure that in the time that you've been around weddings, you've probably picked up some tips that you'd love to share with brides who are planning a wedding. What would you share?
Yeah, definitely. So my best advice for brides is when you get engaged, secure your most important vendors ASAP.
Yes. And who are those most important vendors?
Definitely your venue. You need a venue. If you don't have a venue, you don't have a wedding date.
That's right. That's what we tell people all the time.
After that, I would say photographer, videographer, and then your DJ, very important. Those key people are going to play such a really huge, you spend the most amount of time with your photographer and your DJ. They're honestly the one that you're going to have, that's going to have the most hands-on role in your wedding day, like throughout the course of the day. So you really need to
on the right. And on the backside after the wedding,
correct.
What do you have left?
Right.
You have your photos and your video.
That's right.
Like, yeah, sure. You've got your dress that you're going to put in a box, and you've got your flowers that you're going to, you know, dry out and hang up for a while. And but it's like really what you have is your photos and your video. So a lot of couples don't think about it that way, or they, you know, think, oh, all I need is photos. It's like, well, video captures something different. Or some people are like, I just want video. It's like, well, you also want the photos. Like you want both. They capture different things. So
yes, exactly. Actually, I've had a lot of brides express to me that they were disappointed that they didn't hire a videographer, because there is just something about the movement of your wedding day that it's just really nice to have that video. It's something that I definitely advise them to spend part of their budget on, if they can, swing for that, I would absolutely suggest it. So,
Yeah.
and then just interview these people, and don't just, interview one. Go and talk to a few and make sure that you guys gel together and that you vibe together, because you want to make sure that when you're taking photos with your photographer, or your DJ's playing songs, they know you and they know what you want and they know how to make your day a pleasant experience for you and have fun together and laugh, and they're really important. So yeah.
Yeah, you're going to spend a lot of time with your photographer and your videographer all day, and then your DJ for like half or 3/4 of the day. So
Correct.
if you don't like these people, it's not going to be a great day.
Exactly. You have to be,
and your coordinator will be there all day too. So make sure you like Courtney.
100%.
Right?
Yes. And, as far as coordinating, really the same thing. I mean, talk to people, make sure that, it's somebody that you feel really comfortable with, that even if it's something that's, maybe not, a topic that's fun to bring up, that you feel comfortable talking to them about those things, and just feel really like almost like you're friends with this person, because again, you spend so much time with them. Weddings are a lot of money, and you just want to make sure that you're having the experience that you want on the day of your wedding. So
absolutely. Well, speaking of money, everybody's favorite topic, budgeting, right? So what advice do we have for couples who are budgeting just for their wedding in general, before we even talk about, coordinating, but just in general for their wedding?
Yeah. Being realistic is really important. Weddings are at least, between $10,000 to, $50,000, just depending on how elaborate you really want to go. You can go even more. You can do a wedding on less, but it gets really difficult when you're trying to hire, specific vendors. And you want those things because they make your day flow so much better. So
what would you say is like a typical budget?
Lately,
for brides to think about?
I think it's been close to 20 is about, like, I mean, if we're going on the low end, that's just kind of typical anymore. As if your
prices are going up, everything's more expensive than it used to be. I mean,
exactly.
You make $20 an hour working at McDonald's now.
Yeah. If you want to get that budget down a little bit, I think the only way to really do that is to really just take a really good look at your guest list. I like to tell my couples a lot, because this is a really, it's a sensitive subject, but you have your parents that want to invite all of these people that maybe you don't know, or, you feel obligated to invite. I just say, if you wouldn't, if they don't know you, they're not really in your life day to day, then you might want to think about not having them at your wedding if it's not gonna, if you guys aren't really close, because at the end of the day, you could be paying upwards of, $35 to $50 a plate for a person, for catering and things like that. So just if you can make a smaller guest list, you'll probably have more fun at the party anyway. It'll be more intimate. That's a really good way to cut down on the cost, and then still have all the things that you want to have at your wedding. So,
yeah. What would you say in your experience, so far, especially just in the economy, the way it is and everything, what would you say is like the biggest lever to pull to adjust your budget? Is it guest count?
I would say guest count is a big one. Venue is another big one. If there's any, way that you could have a lovely wedding in someone's backyard, you can save a lot of money that way.
Right.
Of course, at that point, you're going to be dealing with things like, not enough restrooms, potentially, weather concerns if you don't have shelter if something happens, as far as weather related. But we've seen some really beautiful, beautiful backyard weddings that, the couples have saved just a lot of money by doing that. But there is a lot of perks to having it at an actual venue. So
right. It's all set up, and all those little details are included. And you're not like, oh, nobody remembered to get linens for the tables or whatever.
It really is just one of those things that's meant to be used for that. And so they're just, prepared for you.
Right. Yeah, that is helpful. And then as couples are budgeting for the category of a wedding coordinator, and I know that there's a wide spectrum of what happens. There's the day of planners all the way to the full service planners. Just kind of in a broad, stroke, what sort of price points should couples be anticipating as they're thinking about that?
Yeah. So I would say that if you're looking for full scale planning, you're going to be anywhere between 4 and 10,000 just, for that. That's somebody that's going to come in and like I said, you give them a budget and then they run off with it and they implement your vision. And you don't have to do much other than just show up and enjoy your day.
Right.
So that's probably about average for that. And then as far as day of coordinators, I've seen them anywhere from, 500 all the way up to maybe like 1,500, just depending on what they offer and what they do.
Right.
And then also like how
And
long
their
they,
level of experience.
yes, exactly. So for us, what we offer, my pricing is all very transparent on my website. I don't, like always put it all out there because I know that that's usually the first question that any bride asks me is how much.
Right.
So right now, like my biggest, I guess, priority is making sure that we are accessible to anybody who wants to have a coordinator for their
Yeah.
wedding day. So we do offer several packages. The least expensive one being, one where you don't have the full venue set up and you don't have an assistant come, but we still do the timeline and we still, work with your flow. We'll bustle your dress. We'll do all the things that we normally
Okay.
do, but except for not the venue setup and you don't get the extra assistant. That actually starts at 800.
Oh, wow. So it's more like a day of kind of
Correct. Yeah,
situation
a little bit more of a day
with a
of
little bit of help.
work with you quite a bit before.
Okay.
But the most popular package that I have, the one that almost everybody picks,
Yeah.
is the all-inclusive package where we come and we, set up your venue. And that one right now we're offering at $1,200. And we just try to make that something that, like I said, is accessible to everybody so that, if you want it, it's not something that's just completely out of reach for you. So
With your time in the industry, I'll bet you probably have some good testimonials, some fun stories from couples who have been happy working with you. Do you have any you'd like to
yeah.
share?
Yeah, gosh, everyone that I've worked with honestly has been so incredible. In a lot of ways, they become my really good friends, and we keep up with each other forever. So
Nice.
I love that. But I think some of my best testimonials have been the brides that were actually maybe a little bit on the fence about even hiring me in the first place because they weren't even really
Okay.
sure if they really knew what they were getting for one thing, or if they didn't even know if they really needed it. And then to come away at the end of the wedding, I've had some of them say, I don't actually know how I would have done this day without you and, Shannon.
Mm,
Those are my assistants like with us today. And just to be able to say how much they appreciated being able to relax in the morning and really be present all day for their, wedding day. And I love that. I love hearing that at the end of it, that they're happy and that it was worthwhile for them and that it really did make their day go so much more smooth. So
absolutely. Nothing like hearing from couples. It's like, you made our day great
it's
and
the
we loved
best.
working with you. It's like, yeah, we love when we get that feedback. And
It's the best. And,
yeah,
as a professional in the industry, like I know that you have a lot of options when it comes to who you can hire. And so it really is such a privilege for me when I get to work with a couple and really do take it very seriously. And every single wedding day is just so important to me. So
yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Well, that is fun, Courtney. So as we close out our time, do you have like maybe a 30-second takeaway that you'd love for people to walk away with?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you want to just, like I said, have a good experience where you can just be very present, be with your fiance, your soon-to-be spouse, and just enjoy this beautiful day that you've been planning for such a long time. I think that, we would love to have a consultation with any of the couples and just see if we were right for them, see if our personalities vibe together, and if, we can help with that situation, that would be amazing. So,
Yeah, awesome. Well, to that end, how can couples get in touch with you?
so I have a website. It's www.idoevents661.com. And then I also am on Instagram and Facebook. I do events 661.
Perfect. Well, that should be easy to remember.
Yes.
The same on both.
Exactly.
The Instagram and the website. So
Trying to make it easy. Yeah,
That's the idea, right?
exactly.
I mean, you're a coordinator, so that's your job to make it easy,
That's
right?
right. We try to be very organized.
I love it. Well, fun. Thank you, Courtney, for being on the show and letting us into a little bit of behind the scenes of you and your business, and hope that some couples who are watching this maybe connect with you and that they are able to get in touch with you and you can help them out on their wedding day.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, Courtney. If you like today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on Apple iTunes and YouTube, where we have the video version of the show. Be sure to leave us a comment or review. Let us know what you liked, what you learned. And until next time, I'm Josh from Evermoore Films. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show. So, let me decide which question I'm going to go with here. We edit out little pauses. It's fantastic.
I love it.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you, do you have any good testimonials you could share
Oh, yeah.
before I put you on the spot? Okay. I'll go ahead and ask you then.
Okay.